Good evening, Deeyah. Good evening, Sverre.
Hi, how are you? Oh my goodness. It's lovely to see you. Can you hear me okay? Okay, good.
We
Good.
are
Oh,
recording you. The volume isn't the best, and people in this room, we are practicing acceptance every single moment, So,
yes.
yeah, and you can
Yes.
move closer if you'd like. I just want to, before I really sort of introduce you, and I just want to take a moment because we just logged off with Ukraine and Russia. So there are a lot of feelings in the room, and then moving on to this is it's a bit challenging. So um, some people express the need to breathe. So
Yeah,
could we just breathe for half a minute together? Are you with us, Dia, for that? Yeah,
absolutely. Yes.
thank you. Thank you so much. And I knew we could do this with you. Have you
Of
ever been to an award ceremony where they ask you to come in and let's breathe for half a minute?
no, I like it. I like it a lot, actually. Of course, I'm really wanting to ask how it went. Is that okay to ask, or are you wanting to move on?
How it went with the dialogue or the
Yes.
conversations?
Yes. With Ukrainians and Russians.
It would just be my personal opinion for now, so maybe we can engage at some other point. And I just think we had our colleague, a certified trainer from Russia, was here with us,
Oh, wow.
talking a little bit about her perspective, and Olga, and then Katerina on Zoom from Lviv, um, giving her perspective. So it
Wow.
stimulates a lot. So thank you for asking. I really appreciate that. Yeah, thank you.
No, thank you for
And
having.
the silent man downstairs is Sverre Pedersen, who is the head of productions of Fuse, which is and I might not cite it correctly, Dia. It's the media and artistic company that Dia founded some years ago. So he's here also to support us. And I probably won't give you much time, Sverre. It's going to be Dia today, okay? So yeah, just deal with it. Just live in acceptance, as we say.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, Dia, I'm not going to talk much. We put on a couple of YouTube videos of you, a BBC interview. So some people know you, and some people have never ever seen you. They don't know who you are.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna say very quickly because I like you to talk. Deeyah Khan is well, we use labels sometimes, and she is okay with these labels. Pakistani Norwegian, former musician, and maybe still, now mostly a producer and a film director. I don't know all these terms in English. You can talk about that. And although we don't like awards and rewards and punishments in NVC, so it's a bit ironic that you're here tonight. We'll get
I
back
know.
to that.
It's gonna.
Um,
Yes.
and I do think it's useful to say that because of your work, you have been recognized by many, many awards. You're now in Washington, D.C. You have two Emmy Awards, you have a BAFTA Award, and you have many, many more. Just put it out there. Um, and the fact that you're here tonight with us is extremely, extremely powerful. We'll give you the award at the end. I just want to say that it's such a pleasure for us in this very historic moment, not only having the IIT in Norway for the very first time, having the Empathy Award also launched for the very first time. So thank you for accepting it, and now the word is yours. What would you like to tell us? And I also know you have some NVC experience, so go for it.
Okay. Well, what I'd like to say is thank you. What an incredible honor it is to get to be with you, all of you. And it's so nice to be able to see actually, because usually they just put up the boxes and I never get to see faces. So this is, you know, it's always hard to sit on a screen and do this, but this is as close as we can get this time. So I look forward to being with you in person. just profoundly grateful when my dear friend and colleague Sveta told me about this. I mean, I don't think I even finished reading past the word empathy and just said, yes, 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 whatever it is, yes. And then he also mentioned NVC, and I said, yes, 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 absolutely. Whatever it is, yes. I'd love to be a part of it. I'd love to be able to come and sit and listen and spend some time together. But since we're doing it like this for now, I just, as was just said, I've been making documentary films now for about 10 years, and my background is actually music and an artistic background and not a filmmaking background. I never went to film school or anything like that, I have no formal education. And the reason I decided to make documentary films was actually this word empathy. Is I felt that the way we were often in our public space telling stories about each other and telling stories that are challenging, I felt we were telling them in a way that flattened the humanity of the people at the center of the story. I felt like the beating heart of it was sort of removed or disrespected in a way. And I just wanted to try to do my part. It was twofold. One was just a personal obsessive curiosity and just a desperate kind of longing and need to want to learn and understand why we do the things that we do, not just what we do, and why somebody's life path ends up the way that it does and someone else's goes somewhere else. What are those steps that happens in our lives, and are there ways that we can learn from it and also see if we can go somewhere else, but depending on how we intervene or interact with each other, what role can we as individuals and as societies play? And I felt, so the one thing was the kind of personal curiosity of wanting to understand people, and through understanding people, trying to also understand myself. And then the second thing was trying, as I was saying earlier, to tell stories in a way where we might recognize ourselves in each other, where we might recognize our humanity in somebody else's, and see if we can bridge the gaps of differences between ourselves. And so that's really how it started. All the awards and the way that the films were received was never even I never even had really a concept of it going that way. For me, it was just something that I wanted to do, and was committed to doing regardless, without sort of the approval of anybody else in a way. So it was a very personal path for me. And I'm very grateful that the films have done what they've done, because it's opened up the possibility for me to continue. And it's opened up the possibility for me to continue having more conversations about how are we going to manage our differences. And so this word empathy, I think the reason for choosing documentary film was through storytelling and through entering the lives of other people and experiences of other people, I think is one of the ways we can get closer and we can get a sense of what is this? What is it like for somebody else? What is somebody else's life really like? And how does it connect to mine? And how can we do this better, this thing of coexistence? How are we going to do that better, despite our differences, in spite of our differences? So I've one of the themes, people always ask me, they say, oh, you do a lot around extremism and terrorism. And I would say sort of common thread in all of my work is violence. Various forms of violence and how it expresses itself, whether it's violence towards ourselves, whether it's violence towards each other, whether it's violence in the name of politics or religion or ideology or whatever it is, or whether it's intimate partner violence, for example. So I think violence is actually the common thread of all the work that I do. And the reason for that, because people keep saying, what's wrong with you? Like, why do you keep looking into such darkness and such dark behavior? And I think I look into dark behaviors because I'm trying to locate the light always, because it's always there, is what I found, is that there's always hope. There's always the possibility for something else. And I want to find that. And what I have come to learn is that dialogue and engaging and connecting with people is the only way. And so in doing that, actually only recently, we were talking about this earlier, I came across, I was told about Marshall Rosenberg. and about NVC. And this really dear friend of mine who said, have you ever heard of him? And I said, no. And she said, how can you not have heard of him? You know, you have, and I'm going to use labels. You've filmed with criminals, you've filmed murderers, you've sat with neo-Nazis, you've sat with jihadis, and you've sat with all these people and found at some point with many of them common ground and even friendship with some of them. How can you not know of MVC? Because you're already practicing various aspects of this process. And so I started looking into Marshall Rosenberg's work and was just floored by it and just in awe of it, that there is a process, a tangible process that exists that teaches us how we can do this. And that goes beyond, I think, cultural differences, goes beyond generational differences, goes beyond borders, and roots and lives in the space that I always try to return to, which is our humanness, the layer where we are the same, which is our feelings, which is our needs, which is us just trying our best to figure out how to be a human being. So I'm so touched by the work that you all do and the interest that you all have in this. And I was thinking about this earlier, actually, and I will say it, is I think I should take formal training. Maybe I should come next time. I would love to. So I don't really want to talk a lot. I would rather speak with you and hear from you. If you have any questions that you would like me to speak about, or anything that you are interested in or curious about, I'd rather do that, because I'll, you know, me talking at people is less fun than speaking with you, I think.
Thank you, Deeyah. I think I speak for several of us when I say how touched I am by just how you talk about these things, and how you say dialogue is really the way.
Yeah.
And I would love to open up for questions, and then, we have this clock ticking. And I know you said when we spoke earlier, this is just the beginning. So would you also be willing perhaps to have another night where we can invite all of these people and even more, and have an NBC, I'm not Oprah Winfrey, but we can go close, right?
Yes, exactly. So, I'd love to. To me, this is the beginning
an
of
evening with Gert and Deeyah or something.
Yes, I would love it.
Okay, great.
Love it.
Anyway, just maybe one question, if you can do 30
Sure.
seconds, because I think this is something that people really might wonder.
Yeah.
You walk into a room with pretty much all men who have said that they actually want you not only out of the country, but some of them even saying, out of this world.
Yeah.
How can you sit down with them? What goes through your body? And how can you find empathy for somebody who just really wants you out?
Yeah. So the thing is, I've lived with death threats for many years, for different work that I've done. And so the first half of my life I spent being afraid. The first half of my life I spent running away from people like that. And I just got to a point where I realized that I have a choice I have to make. I can choose to be afraid, or I can choose to face this. And the thing is, the purpose of people saying things like that to me is they want me to be afraid, and they want me to disappear, and they want me to change my behavior. And I just got to a point in life where I didn't want to do that anymore. I don't want them to set the table of how my life is going to go. And so I made a very clear decision that I wanted to seek them out, and I wanted to sit down with them and see whether it's possible for me to see their humanity and for them to see mine when we're sitting face to face. And could we, and maybe we wouldn't, I mean, I didn't know at the time, but, can we sit and find points of connection with each other? Can I get behind the kind of the bravado and the image in a way? Can I get past that and get to who he really is? And would he be willing to do the same with me? And if so, where do we end up from there? And I think, why do I choose to do that is I know what it feels like to be dehumanized. I know what it feels like to be underestimated. I know what it feels like to be discriminated against. And I refuse to do that to somebody else, even if they wish me dead. And the reason for that is, otherwise, what's the difference? What's the difference? If I say I believe in human rights, I believe in dignity, I believe in equality, I believe in the humanity in people, then if I'm only willing to act out of compassion or act from a place of empathy and be willing to sit and want to understand somebody only with people that I like and people who I agree with and who agree with me, that's, I mean, that's not principles. That's not values. That's conditional. My compassion only matters if I'm willing to extend it to somebody who thinks, or I think, or my friends think doesn't deserve it. When it's hard, that's when I have to do it. That's when I have to practice and live what I say. So that's why I did it. So it wasn't in many ways, because many of my friends, I always mention this, many of my friends have said to me, because they think I've kind of lost my mind. They're like, why are you willing to sit with people like this? Why would you do that? And I keep saying, first of all, I'm not willing to waste people. I'm not willing to give up on people, even if they've given up on me, even if they've given up on themselves. I'm not willing to do that. And because my friends keep saying, are you trying to rescue their humanity? And I keep saying, no. What I'm trying to do is I'm actually trying to hold on to my own. It's actually not about them. It's about I have to decide, how am I going to live and how am I going to show up to life. So that's why. And that's why it also is actually quite easy in many ways to sit with guys like that. And this is why coming across, Rosenberg's work and all the MVC work, coming across it was just like, it just gave me goosebumps. I was just sitting there going, oh my goodness, I've just instinctively been doing some of this and just felt kind of drawn to do it in that way. And the fact that somebody has thought about it to the extent that he's done, and the fact that there are people scattered all around the world who practice this, who train this, who teach it, who live it, who breathe it every day. I was just going, oh my goodness, this is, why have I been asleep at the wheel for so long? I've not known about this, So it's just, again, it's why it's such a privilege to get to sit with you today,
Deeyah, you were never asleep. You were next to us all this time.
Yeah, I know.
You really
But
were.
it's like rediscovering, it's like discovering your people in a way and going, oh my goodness, they are out there. Seriously.
So I think you are really part of our NVC family without knowing. So, this might
Yes,
be called illegal adoption, but it's official.
exactly. Exactly.
So let's go to the formal part today. We have a very beautifully dressed man. That's also a judgment to call him beautiful, but I'll do it anyway.
We'll do it anyway.
So this is yeah. How can I be formal now? I'm not going to be that formal. What we want to do is officially,
Oh,
what do we say then? The winner of the Empathy Award 2023 goes to Deeyah Khan, everyone.
thank you. Thank you so much. Oh my goodness, it's beautiful. Oh my goodness, giraffe. Yay. Officially a giraffe. Thank you. Oh, thank you so much. What a beautiful, beautiful thing. Thank you. Oh, wow.
So you might not be a giraffe, but your heart is probably as big as a giraffe
As a
heart.
big
So that's yeah. Thank you.
No,
All
this
right,
is
we'll get this to you either in DC or when you come back to Oslo. All right. So
fabulous. Thank you. Thank
okay.
you so much.
So thank you so much for being here tonight. I'm going to take you up on your word. We will be in touch. Okay.
Please do.
I've
Thank
got
you.
Sverre's
Thank you.
number. Yeah. Yeah. That's all right. Okay.
I
Thank you
really
so much.
appreciate it.
Tusen,
Thank
tusen,
you.
tusen tack.
Tusen
Sorry.
hjärtligt tack. Tusen tack. Mwah. Thank you.
All right. Have a lovely evening. Thanks, everybody. Thanks.
Thank you. Bye.
Tack, Sverre.